This is Kim Chadwell. I want to share with you a dream that I had on January 24th, 2024. And I had been awake quite late, really late into the night, and went to sleep. And when I awoke from the dream, I looked at the clock. It was 4:44. So I'd only been asleep a very short amount of time. So here's my dream. In the dream, I was in like a kitchen against the wall, sitting on the floor against the wall, and I was directly across from me was like a sliding glass door, a big sliding door. And there was a curtain hanging on it, but it was not long enough. And so it was quite short for the long door, but something like maybe you would just throw over and it would help some of the sunlight, but it didn't really fit the door. So I was sitting on the floor against the wall, and to my right was like the opening maybe to the living room, and then the wall of the kitchen. So ordinarily, maybe in that corner of the sliding door, there's a wall, and then another wall, there'd be a table. But in this situation, I was sitting on the floor, and there were a few people to my right, sitting on that wall, and then a few to my left. So we were all sitting on the floor, our feet sort of just sitting straight out from us. We were just sitting on the floor. So I was looking out, and I was able to see underneath where the curtain was too short, very clearly out into like the yard. It was a pretty good sized yard. And at the end of the yard was a very long metal building, like dark tan in color. So to give perspective, I believe if I'd stepped out of that sliding door, and to my very far left, there was like a long blacktop type driveway that went past the house and yard. And either it was another property or it was part of the property, but that driveway, that blacktop, also went to the right to where the yard finished and entered where that building was. So I don't know if it was the same property or not, but that was sort of the what I was able to see. So I'm sitting there on the floor looking out, and I see coming out of the metal door, I see the metal building, I see a door open, and I see men in, not necessarily, they weren't fatigues, it wasn't military, but it was very dark black, almost like SWAT uniforms type thing. They were all in black, and one after the other, 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 after the other were coming out, and they were all of them had machine guns. So I'm sitting there and I see one come out and another, almost like black ants. Like they just coming. And I saw them very clearly. I could see the detail. And I said, they are armed. And I was like seeing them. And so they were coming out of the building, and then, you know, if I was one of them, I was coming out of the building and then went to the left, like coming back up this driveway, this blacktop. So they were coming in the direction of maybe going to the main street or something on the other side of the house. So I see them one after the other, after the other, after the other, and after the other. And I was like, they're armed. And they were like, I couldn't even tell you how many. And so they were coming, and then they sort of turned, and they were walking, but they were kind of walking in that crouched, as if, you know, when you're coming to get someone, you're kind of crouched over. And so they were kind of crouching, and they all had these machine guns and had it over their shoulder, like that big shoulder strap that goes with it. And so they're coming and kind of go around that little corner, and they're coming up alongside the house. And so I say that they're armed, and then there was a person on my right, and I think maybe I said, I wonder if they can see us, or I hope they don't see us, or I wonder if they can see us. At the same time, right then, the person on my right says, right as about to say, we'll pray they can't see us. But right then, one of the men shot across the yard and jumped through the glass. And it was almost like a karate jump, you know, where you go feet first, and came straight through the glass door, and glass went everywhere and landed right at me. It could have been like on me, but I didn't necessarily feel it. But all of a sudden he was right there. It was that quick. So I see him coming one after the other, and then I see him coming down, and I'm like, I wonder if they can see us, and then let's pray. Right as about to say, let's pray they don't, bam, he shoots over and jumps in feet first, karates through the glass, and lands, and he's right there at me. And I stick my right arm out. Remember, I'm seated on the floor. My legs are out, so I'm not in any kind of a defensive position at all. And I stick my right arm straight out, and it sort of lands at the top of his chest, almost at his neck. And I just push right there, and I scream, Jesus protect me, Jesus protect me, Jesus protect me, Jesus protect me. And he's fighting, and we go to the left and we go to the right, and my arm is locked. And this is a grown man, military age, full grown male with a machine gun that had jumped straight into our dwelling. And I'm screaming this one after the other, after the left and the right, and he's trying to get to me, and he's fighting me. And all I did was block my arm against him, and he's trying to reach to put his hand over my mouth, and I just keep screaming, Jesus protect me, Jesus protect me, Jesus protect me, Jesus protect me, Jesus protect us. And I'm just screaming that, and then all of a sudden he stops, like he's perplexed, and he's breathing hard, like he didn't say anything. He just stood up, and so he's just kind of like almost not a daze, but puzzled. That's probably the better word. And he gets up and he goes to my right, and there's that opening, and he goes to the other room, which was behind my wall, which I assume is like a living room. And then dreams are sort of different, and all of a sudden there I am in sort of the hallway of the house. And I'm pulling this, like a suitcase with wheels. And there's the women are here in the house, and there's just a lot of things going on. And I pull it, and I said, oh, it has the supplies. And it was almost as if these suitcases were not rations of food, but more like prepared rations of supplies, or pre-made kits, if that's the word. And I remember saying and pulling them, and then I bring it forward and I hand it to someone, and I say, well, it's got a blanket. And I don't recall the rest of what I said, but I knew there was necessities in that suitcase. And I pass it on. I look to my left, and that's the front door. And there's like a glass, like a storm door, and there's a porch, and there's all these men. And they're all in those black, sort of like uniforms, maybe more like police uniforms, but not the badges, but black. But whatever it was they had, they were all in black. They all had machine guns, and they're sitting on the railing of this front, small front porch. And then they also were coming inside. But they were very perplexed, yet we knew they were in authority, but yet they did not harm us. And it was almost like a puzzled respect, revere, don't know what's going on, but we're not harming. We can't harm you. But yet we in there knew they were in authority. So we weren't trying to leave, but we were functioning within the dynamics. And so I kind of went, just imagine I'm standing in a hall, and there's this long wall. In front of me straight is the living room with that door on the left of the front door. And then I step a little bit to the right, and I'm in the kitchen, and I could see that storm door. So just a similar small house of sorts. And so I step over, out of the hall, and I'd given that suitcase to someone who was opening it and getting some supplies, and I think there was maybe food in there as well. And I step out of the hall into the kitchen, and there was a pot going, and food was going, and I woke up. But when I woke up, my heart was, and my breathing was so rapid. It was if I was, wrestling, had just finished the wrestling. Like it was a very quick, I have that encounter and the wrestle, it was lengthy. And he finally relented. Then I get up and I get a suitcase, and then, so I was still feeling the physical reaction, emotions, and winded as if I had just wrestled with this grown man, far greater strength than me, and had the machine gun, and the men, all of the men that were sitting out front, and some were coming in and out. But it was very respectful, but it was almost like they were perplexed and knew not to harm us. And we equally knew there was some sort of an authority going on. Maybe they had overtaken. I'm not sure. But this is, again, so I had the dream on December 1st about the, militia man coming into a mega church to harm it. And there were several people with him. But he was an extremely large man, also had a machine gun, very well built, very big guy, very much in authority. And I had that dream on December 1st, 2023. Then here, so we're 6-8 weeks from that dream, and I've had another dream in between. But this dream, again, is a scenario of attack, of someone equipped, well-built, and me being a female woman, obviously I would not even last seconds in a challenge of regular strength, much less someone military, younger, well-built, and with a machine gun, and numerous men with machine guns. So the dream was very profound, very real, very realistic. I could just say a lot. I'm going to leave it at that. And may the Lord give you ears to hear. And I have prayed and prayed that those that know me and hear me, one, that will have hearts of fertile soil, so that seeds will land on fertile soil. And the second is that you have eyes to see and ears to hear, which means that you have spiritual discernment and you understand the hour that we are in and these warnings, and also that we are continuously being told the example of the tools that we have to overcome the enemy. In the name of Yeshua, I share this dream with you. He who has ears, let him hear.